Welcome to Listen.
Teacher Chatter.
This is Robin.
And Jill.
And we're ready for a fun week.
So, I will just complete my, most of my parent-teacher conferences at this point when this podcast goes out.
And you're still alive.
I am, somehow. It makes for a long week.
Yeah.
So I'm going to jump into those highs and the lows just to go with it.
I say go for it.
So, our whole focus for this week's podcast is funny stories about parent-teacher conferences or just stories in general. And my low for the week is that I try to get mine done within the first week of conferences, and it is a long week.
Yes.
I use a lot of my plan time, some after school for 3 days, some before school. So you're just tired by the end. And I guess, so that's part of the low. The other is like, I don't enjoy the part of having to deliver some bad news.
I know. And listen, it's always a shock to parents, even though it's not. They're always like, oh, and I'm like, I know you're in 5th grade. You have heard this before today.
And so I had like mixed with that. So some were kind of like, oh, really? And I think for us, being where we are in the year, some kids probably had lower marks than they are used to. And so that's like, you're having to talk them through that. Like, it's not that I think they're going to stay there.
Yeah.
There's room for growth. And so, but on the flip side of that, my positive is just having those good conversations with parents and figuring out, like, I think we're fortunate where we are, where most of my parents took it as like, we're a team.
Yes, which is nice.
How do we come together for the kiddo? And so it was also great delivering like the funny stories that their kids had lately, or just being able to make that connection to school and home. Yeah. Like there's not, I always hate when people think it's like us versus them or something like that. Like I get nervous about parent-teacher conferences because I don't know necessarily what parents are going to throw at me.
I know.
But I think they feel the same way.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just good kind of having that touch base, everybody being on the same page, and for them also to get a feel for the teacher. This is our first year to really be like fully back into regular conferences. And so I'm sure their kids have maybe said some things about their teachers. And for me, it was nice just getting that face-to-face conversation and, maybe a funny story or two.
And I just one thing I love about parent-teacher conferences really is because you kind of get to know the family a little bit. Like you make connections. Sometimes you understand a little more.
Yes, yeah, you do. Yeah,
and a lot more it's like, that's now the whole picture's here. But also it's like you seem to make that connection, and I feel like the year goes better because they have met you, you met them, and you go to that different level because it's that one-on-one and kind of getting to know, and they see that you do love their child. Yeah, that they hear your heart and you hear their heart. I really do love it, and my position's different than so I will say. It is part of it's nice because I don't have 23 kids back to back in a 15-minute because I'm a talker, and 15 minutes, it's not very long. No. And so you feel like sometimes you're like, okay, do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? Boom, you're done. You know, but it is nice to still, I try to sit in to all the kids I work with and sit with them. So it's different being on the other side and not being one that leads it. And, it does make me appreciate how hard it is. The regular ed job is a very hard job. And I think sometimes I've been on both sides, and my days are crazy sometimes. So my days are hard, but there's a lot on plates for regular ed teachers. And there's a lot of things that we don't realize is that it takes up a lot of time. There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of balancing, the parent contact, all those things. So it always makes me appreciate my regular ed teachers a little more just because even though my day is harder, parent-teacher conference isn't as hard, It
can just be a lot. And I think I think sometimes too, for me, like the anticipation of it all and not knowing how they're going to go, I'm like, just get me through the week. And then by the end, I'm like, actually, that wasn't so bad.
And usually it's usually you feel good afterwards because it actually goes a lot better than you think.
Yes.
But I think it's the not knowing, like, what if you have a parent that's upset, or what if, and it takes you, like, some you worry about and you're like, those were so easy. And then ones that you think were so easy, you're like, I didn't see that one coming at all.
No. So anyway, overall great though. And I'm excited to share the stories that we've dug up today.
I love it. Yeah. All right. My high and lows is, I know, I'm going back to my low is there is just such sadness right now. This week, I have had 3 different friends call me of devastating news for either a friend or family member. And my heart just breaks. There's so much that's going on, and it's just, my heart has been broken this week for some really sad situations. So it's been hard this week. So that's my low. My high is I went to a birthday party for someone that we kind of grew up with, and she was turning 80.
Wait a second. 80. You know what? It sounds really funny though when you say somebody you grew up with and they turn 90. And
I am not 90.
It's like waiting for
I know you guys thought I looked really good for 90 and very dedicated to still be teaching, but no, sorry. Friends of my family, my mom and dad. Okay, she turned 80. Anyway, they had a surprise birthday party.
She turned 80 and you just tried to say she was 90?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Oh my gosh, I hope she doesn't listen to the podcast. She'll be like, gosh, Robin.
All right, she's 80. Okay. She looks amazing for 80, even. I think she's 80. Who knows? I went to a party, okay? Mind your own business. Don't worry about the details. And anyway, it was, she went to our church growing up, and we had an awesome core group of people growing up in our church, and none of us go there anymore. We've all gone our separate ways. But it was like a family reunion.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so great seeing old friends and laughing, and we were talking about great memories we had together. And so just getting back together with old friends that you haven't seen in a while, it was just such a great time.
I think that always is a great testimony to what kind of relationships you had to begin with.
Yes.
You cannot see somebody for months or years, and when you do, it feels just like yesterday.
It did, and that's how these people, it was like, it's so fun and
being happy to see each other. Like, you're not avoiding it, just like, oh my goodness, I'm so happy to see you.
And it was only for a little bit, but it was such a great time to see everyone. So.
Good deal. All right, so ready to get into these parent-teacher conference stories. So do you want me to start with, I'll start with one I do believe you had a little bit of insight with. So my friend Lauren Taylor sends this in. Yes, she is a top fan of Listen Teacher Chatter. So we very much appreciate her. But she was in a conference, her first or second year of teaching with the school counselor. And the younger sibling of her student tried to put their finger in the electric pencil sharpener. They were about in first or second grade and were trying to put their finger in the pencil sharpener, first or second grader. So she said at that moment, they were kind of trying to do their part, and but then they tried to wrap that conference up quickly. Dangerous situations. Do they have pencil sharpeners, electric ones, in the lower grades?
Yeah.
So what does this teacher?
Listen.
It was probably one of your students.
I probably was one of my
Mrs. Hammond's cool with this.
This is what we do for fun. So we play with our tiger balls. We stick our finger in.
Oh my god.
Nash never told you that's
what he did not. I wondered why he had a Band-Aid on his finger most days. But the thing I thought about this too was though, when parents bring in those younger siblings, and I'm like, I can't.
No.
Trying to have the conversation. It's enough with meet the teacher night, but conference night, and I get it's hard to maybe find somebody to watch your kids, but I'm like, I'm not trying to control your other child. Like, what is going on?
And I'll tell you, we have that so much worse in first grade because usually youngers are still young. And I remember one time I looked over it and a kid had a Sharpie and was writing all over my board on books, and you're like, hold on just a second. She just didn't do anything. She let me take care of it, but it was awful. So here's a little tip for parents.
Yeah.
If you can, don't bring your younger kids to a conference.
Yeah.
Because it makes it really hard.
Or if you have to,
have them sit next to you.
Yeah, or like that is the time that it's fine to get out the phone and let them watch a little show off to the side.
Yes, and we know that it's hard. So sometimes you have to bring them, but just watch them. Watch them for us.
Watch them. All right.
I'm actually going to share one of my own personal stories. Okay. I actually forgot about it, but when we put this out there, one of my friends said, "Hey, you have got to share that story." Well, it was, and you would love this. Mm-hmm. It was Spirit Day.
Oh.
Favorite book character.
On parent-teacher conference
day? I don't know why we ever scheduled that. And I don't know where my filter of my boundaries saying this is not a good idea. But I decided I would dress up like Pinkalicious. So I got myself a hot pink wig.
Yes.
All pink with a pink tutu.
Yes.
Like I was living my best Pinkalicious character.
Yes.
Till I realized halfway through that I was having parent-teacher conference. Now, I could take off the wig.
Yeah.
But then my hair, because I have full curly hair, would be like flat on my head and it would look scary.
No, yeah.
So I did all my conferences Pinkalicious.
You know what though? I bet the parents, they talked about that later. Sure like that was a memorable conference.
I'm sure they left and they said, probably like I say, there's the rest of the story.
What did they say anything?
I just tried to start off by saying, I'm so sorry. I didn't think put 2 and 2 together. It's Pinkalicious. And most of them laughed and enjoyed it, but I am sure there were some people. In fact, my friend Tracy's like, I'm pretty sure I have a picture still of you as Pinkalicious.
Yeah.
I said, listen, we don't need to bring that up.
I think we do. Let's find that. Tracy, find that and send it to Krista or myself anytime.
Oh, it was awful. And I will never forget that. And I felt like I left all my professionalism just kind of went down a little bit as you're with a tutu and pink hot pink hair.
Your child's really struggling in reading.
I don't know why. I don't think this could be a distraction.
They have a hard time concentrating in class. I don't know why. Oh my gosh.
And that year too, I also had a little boy that really could not handle change. So I did warn him ahead of time that I was going to do it. When I came in, he was very upset about it. And I remember taking off the wig and saying, listen, I'm taking off the wig right now. But when I leave the classroom, I'm putting it back on. So I need you to be okay with it. And he was. But I learned a lot that year. So yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got one from my friend Grace. And so I guess there were a couple of twins in the building. And one of them may be a little tougher to handle than the other. And the mom comes in. She'd already dealt with that part of it. And she comes into this other teacher's classroom. And she has a big bag of potato chips. And she flops herself down and says, "This has been exhausting and this is my dinner. So I'm eating it now." Opens up the big bag of potato chips, kicks back, and just starts eating the bag of potato chips during that conference.
Well,
And they said, I guess the joke began to surface that it was the conferences were all that in a bag of chips.
That's actually pretty funny.
Well, I'm like, you couldn't, look, the conferences are 15 minutes. Like, even if you had 5 kids, you can hold on
for an hour
to bring in the potato chips.
And then she planned ahead about it. It's not even like you eat a granola bar that thinks, I'm sorry, I need a little food. You bring a whole bag of chips, you plan on eating there.
I know. Yes.
You know what? Maybe I'll learn that. Maybe I'll do that next time.
I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should do that this year with my kids' conferences. Like, I'll go in and I'll just be like, it's been a long day.
Why don't you just bring barbecue ribs?
Here's the thing. I've got one of my kids' conferences after I've had 10 in that day. So after his, I'll just come in with the potato chips.
That is funny.
Oh my gosh.
Now that's funny.
Yeah. And like you said, I like the planning ahead. Yeah. It's really good.
All right. This is from my friend Rachel. She said she had a mom who was training for a bikini competition.
Well, most moms are.
Yeah, because we have so much time for that.
That's right.
Isn't that what you're working for?
That's exactly what I'm working for, bikini contest.
You know what? Those people aren't bringing potato chips. I'll tell you that.
It's not the same mom I was just talking about.
No, not the same mom. Anyway, during their conference, she pulled out her phone to show her the progress pictures. So she was looking at photos of this woman wearing a thong, saw pictures of her butt cheeks, and she was proud, showing me that her glutes progression. And she said it was so awkward. And I'm sure panicking someone else would walk in.
Well, what do you say to man, yeah, your glutes, let me see them in live action. No, you're showing me a picture of you in a thong.
It's so wrong.
And to feel like it's good. I don't know what I would say. Oh. Actually, I do. I would be like, great job. It looks like you've been working really hard.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah. Do they have a personal connection? Or was this how does this even come about? It has to be they had some kind knew each other a little bit.
I've been in situations. They probably don't even have to have a connection, honestly.
Oh,
and she was also saying,
so proud of yourself. You work hard.
I think she said the same mom another time said that her child could not have any apples because you would not believe all the carbohydrates in an apple. Listen, if I'm eating an apple, I'm one to post it and put myself look how healthy I am. I'm eating an apple.
Oh, that's sad.
It is.
Okay, this is a good one. This came from my friend Becky, and so she says a parent comes in for their parent-teacher conference and has a bodyguard with him. the person, she said, think like Matrix. So like all in black.
The
like
bodyguard?
Yes, all in black, bigger guy, all these things. And not only that, but once they come in for the parent-teacher conference, the bodyguard stood outside the door, arms crossed, with a rain stick.
No.
Yes.
Was it for real?
Yeah, I guess. I said, tell me more. She's like, I can't. I don't know. I was so shocked. Yeah, just stood outside her door with a rain stick, a black rain stick outside
I would
the door.
freak out. I would freak out.
I was like, was it because she was actually teaching at Branson at the time? And I was like, was it like a Branson show person? She goes, no, I don't think so. She's like, I have no idea. I'm like, was there a custody thing? She's like, no idea. All I know is he had a bodyguard. He had a bodyguard.
Oh, the guy?
With him. And the bodyguard was outside.
I think I'd have to ask. I think I'd have to ask him.
She did not. And I feel like she should go back and ask.
Yes.
So I don't know, but I've been thinking about it ever since she told me the story, and I have so many questions, so many unanswered questions.
I can't wait for you to go to your child's parents teacher conference with Chips and now bodyguard.
I know.
Do you want me to be your bodyguard?
Yeah. I'll be here tomorrow at 4.
I only have a Swift mop, but will that work instead of a
Swift
mop?
I think it'll be good. Oh my god.
Oh, that is that's crazy.
I don't even know. That's the story.
You can't make this stuff up,
no,
people.
And it's like, why? That's what I was trying to figure out. I kept asking, like, why would they need a bodyguard? Why is this going on? And no.
And why would you stand at the door?
Why would you stand? I mean, that's what the other thing is. Like, if there's that much danger,
I don't want to be here. I know.
I don't want this
I'll call
conference.
you. Let's do it on the phone.
Yep.
Oh my.
Yep.
Okay, so this is from my friend. Two of our friends, Laura and Angie, they were doing a conference together. So they sent this to us. She said that they were in a virtual conference with another teacher and a parent. The parent was in a room and kept moving around while talking to them. At one point,
it a dark room?
I think it was a dark room.
Darkish room.
And at one point, she laid on a table and someone started adjusting her. She was at the chiropractor. She said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I already had an appointment. I didn't want to miss the conference." So she was getting a
2 birds,
adjustment.
1 stone. 2 birds, 1 stone.
And while she's getting, I'm like, wow.
I don't know. Like, what? And then if you're the chiropractor,
yes.
and you're like, people are watching this?
What's
going on right now?
You think let me just wait and let you finish up here? Like, I don't know.
I think that's so bizarre.
I just don't understand people. I don't understand. I didn't know all these things were options.
No.
You know what? So
I now need to eat potato chips while getting adjusted and have a bodyguard. And what else can I add to this? Well, I've got one to add to the list. Okay. We were talking about siblings, and Trisha, who I work with now, she was working at a preschool at the time, and she said it's like I said, parent-teacher conference, parents there. Well, apparently the younger sibling that was brought in the room was a baby.
Okay.
Baby has a blowout. They put the baby on the table, blowout everywhere, start changing the baby during their conference. It's just nasty all over the table, all the things.
No.
Yeah, it happened.
No.
It was a thing.
No.
And then it's like they leave the room, but
the smell's still there.
It's still there.
And you still have a billion conferences. And people are going to think you stink. They're going to think you had a blowout issue.
You had a blowout during this.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Well, and then you feel like you got to so somebody had to change their diaper, but then you're also like, it's at a preschool, so maybe they think that it's the normal, and then it just doesn't feel good.
Yeah,
I don't feel good.
Listen, my friend Andy, she said that she had just had a baby, and she had a parent-teacher conference, and it was supposed to be like at 4:00.
Yeah.
So she was pumping, and so she had one that pumps itself. I don't know
what.
I'm way past the time, so I don't know that this is possible. But
yes, it is.
So she put it on. Well, he came 15 minutes early.
Oh no.
So she's like, "What do I do?" So she just put her jean jacket on and went ahead and had the conference. And she said she was in the middle of the conference. It was just a father, and they were talking. And she said, and she said, when she looked down, there was milk flowing all over her shirt, and she was soaked through with this conference with his dad the whole time. And he never said anything. She's never said anything. She said, "I wanted to die."
Oh, that is so bad.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Did he not notice?
I said, "Do you think?" And she's like, "I'm hoping my jean jacket covered it, and that." it covered, but she said, I just don't know. But she's like, I never want to know. So
No.
she moved away. So I think she's far
She's
away.
done. Well, that's actually a perfect segue to another story I had. This was, I believe, somebody in the building that you're at that had this conference. I'm not exactly sure who, but during the conference, and let me also say, I am all for nursing.
Yes.
100%. During the conference, mother whips.
Listen, I actually think it might be my friend Andy's story. I think so, maybe.
Not that story.
This one?
No.
Well, that happened to her too.
Oh, maybe it is, because whipped it out to feed the baby, not covered at all during the conference. Just, and I'm like, I'm all for it.
Yes.
Do your thing, but that's also a time where like you could just use the cover.
Yes,
like,
and kids are coming in.
Yeah.
There's other parents coming in.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
So yeah, that was another one that I had discovered along the way. Do you have any other ones?
I do have one for her that said that she was her first year.
One.
And she was really excited about her conference, and she was going on and on about her, and looked up, and the mom was sound asleep. Sound asleep. And so she said she got done, and she looked over, and she's like, do I wake her up? Do I drop something? Gosh. How do I was like, well, I guess your voice was mesmerizing to her. Wow. So I think she just sat there really quiet.
I feel like I couldn't take it. I would be
I would have to drop something like this or something, so maybe we could have jolt them up.
I don't think people could fall asleep in my conference.
Oh, no one can fall asleep in my conference.
There's too many.
I'm making eye contact. I'm like, hey, and then I just pat him and be like, did you understand?
Yeah, and quite frankly, if you don't want to hear what I have to say, you can leave. Don't waste my time either. I'm good.
Listen, this is the cheapest 15-minute show you're going to get. You'll want to stay. You don't want to go to sleep. This is the best day of your life. Parent teacher conference.
Yeah, come on, with Mrs. Ammons.
Well, that makes me think. One year, I don't think it was your year, but if it was, it should have been your year. But one of my favorite stories, Karen, my friend Karen always says, Robin, I always think about this. It was the back to school. It was a parent teacher conference. And you used to have everybody would come in and you do a presentation to the parents. Oh. And you used to be like, these are your rules. These are your things.
Yeah.
So I did all this. Next thing, my whole class, my whole parents were clapping for me. Like it was the best show they ever. And I was like, listen, everybody in the past, they are not stepping up because this class, I don't know if they were clapping because I was done or it was like, great show. This is awesome. I was like, man.
Really?
True story. Wow. I don't think it was you. So I don't know why you didn't clap you around when I was.
We didn't do that. That wasn't a thing.
Goodness, I forgive you then.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that was a thing. Wow.
Anyway.
Okay, well.
Something to live for.
Now we know.
So you know what, parents? If you really love the conference, clap when you leave. Great
Slow
job.
Clap.
Way to go, Miss Weedle. Excellent job.
I'll die if somebody does that. We're gonna find out who listens to the podcast.
That's right. Next conference.
Okay. Amanda Miller sends one in. She said at her conference, her daughter's kindergarten teacher gave her back a pair of Mrs. Potato Head earrings. Apparently, her daughter had been sneaking them to school every day and wearing them and wasn't supposed to be.
You know what? I feel like that was in first grade because I feel like I remember that.
Was it you?
No, it wasn't me. I didn't have a child, but I am pretty sure I remember that.
Oh, well, that's the other thing. Like, parents find out different things that they did not know about their child, and sometimes a little shocking.
You know what? When Abby was in second grade, I had a meeting, and her teacher said, hey, I've been noticing that Abby's been bringing chicken legs for a snack. I said, what? She had brought it for lunch today, but instead of eating at lunch, she'd bring out the chicken leg at snack time, just put it on the desk, and would eat it. And then there would be grease all over the table. I wanted to cry. I said,
there's other snacks you can provide your child.
Not a chicken leg.
A chicken leg.
I said, listen, I can't. I'll talk to her when I go. And she was like, Miss Esch was like, oh, actually, I thought it was a great protein. That was a good thing. My God. So they actually made a song about it. And at the end of the year, she bought chicken legs for her whole class. And so it was super funny. But it was very embarrassing. So yes, there is embarrassing stories that you find out later, and you're like, please. Chicken leg. Oh, I love that chicken leg.
Oh my!
You've heard the song.
I'm not. I was just going with it. Was that
it? You could have run it well.
I can write a song.
You can.
I did have my students have me rapping on the bus this week.
Oh,
this last
where were you
week.
on the bus?
Wilson's Creek.
Oh, you had your first field trip. How was it?
It was pretty good.
I noticed that didn't make your high or low, so at least that's
actually I should have added on to it because. Mr. Carlos was our bus driver, who is fabulous.
Yes.
And he gave me and Mrs. Eberhardt the microphone, the intercom. The entire way to the field trip, we were doing jokes. The kids started chanting for me to rap. I had a little small rap section.
That's impressive. That's like the best day ever, isn't it?
It felt really good. I was like, it was like, do I want this? And I was like, yeah, I do.
Of course you do.
I do.
Not very often does people hand you over a mic. Listen, advice to live by.
Yeah.
If you're handed the microphone, shine.
Yeah.
Shine. It's
I
meant
felt
to
like
be.
The kids kind of booed my jokes, but I think in reality they were really happy about it.
Yeah.
Those little stinkers, though, they knew the answers
to their jokes?
So many of them. I'm like, what do you kids do at home? Do you just read joke books?
You know what? I love it.
I think they do. So
I love it.
All right. Well, there we go. Congratulations on some great parent-teacher conferences.
You know what? After this week, I cannot wait to hear more.
Let us know.
Because we'll probably have to have a second one because I'm sure these stories
they go on and on.
Are so funny and so ridiculous. You literally cannot make them up.
Can't make them up.
Can't make them up.
Bodyguards and all.
All right. Do you want to do your things and then I'll do a challenge?
Yeah. All right. So remember that we are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are on TikTok. We do have a little Pinterest action going on. And of course, you can find us on YouTube. If you haven't watched us live with unedited versions, you are certainly missing out. Yeah, it's interesting. And you can see what we look like if you've not. It's a whole nother game.
When we have dark bags under our eyes because we've had a long week.
You'll know.
You'll know.
You'll know. So on Facebook we do. Oh, do I do this now or do I later?
Do now.
Yeah, we do now. We didn't have any new followers that I could find. However, I did see that CM Michelle Shivers had shared one of our posts, which I was like, hey,
thanks
sharing our stuff. I love it. On Instagram, we do have a few new followers. The Association Christian Teachers.
Oh, very nice.
Thanks for following.
Yeah.
Brody Hunt was also new follower, and Refined Lovely You.
Oh, these sound like amazing things to follow myself.
Yeah, you might go check them out. I know. And then on TikTok, our new follower was the one and only Jay.
Man, I feel like I need to get like a cool name.
We're just listen teacher
We're
chatter.
Old.
Are we old? I feel like it's cool. Listen teacher
no,
chatter.
I'm talking about my own personal.
Oh.
No, listen teacher chatter is good.
Yeah, but then it's so hard for people to find if you have something fancy.
I know, that's true. That is true.
So anyway, but thanks for following and make sure you are sharing our post so you can get some more people out there. I have to tell you, it is sometimes it's amazing to me when I see how many people are like following or listen to her. Like even if it's 10 people, which mind you, we are having more than 10 people.
Yeah.
Or 1,000. We've not had 1,000 yet.
But we can dream.
I look at it and I'm like, I can't believe these people spend their part of their week listening to us.
I 100% agree.
Even if it were, like I said, 10 people, I'm like, 10 people listen to Robin and I?
For 30 minutes?
For 30 minutes?
That's dedication.
It is, but...
My family don't even listen to me that long.
I know, right? And so I do want our followers and everybody to know that we really do appreciate you spending that time with us, and it helps boost us to continue on. So,
you know, when I ran into my friends this weekend, one of them said, hey, I saw you have a podcast. They're like, that sounds so exciting. I said, you know what? Yes. I said, we're having so much fun doing it and we're going to do it till it's not fun anymore. Yeah. Or do we feel like we're not making a difference in people's lives? And so when we hear from you guys and we see that you're following and it means a lot to us. Yeah, and we want to keep doing it as long as people keep listening. So
as long as they keep wanting us to.
When we dwindle down to 0, we'll know it's time to quit.
Drop the mic.
It's as good as it gets.
Unplug the mic.
Anyway, all right. My verse that I picked this week was Ephesians 4:2. It says, always be humble and gentle, be patient with each other, make an allowance for each other's faults because of your love. And I thought that was such a good reminder this week. And our pastor actually taught a sermon on this. And he put, what may seem like nothing to you is a big deal to them. And I just thought this week, as we're going through your week, and maybe somebody does something that's kind of like, oh, that's ridiculous. They're making a big deal about that. But we're different people. And I think it goes back to our strengths that we talked about a few weeks ago. People have different strengths and weaknesses, and the way their perception of how things are so different. So just take a little break and just show the love for them and realize that what's not, and you know what, things that are a big deal to you may not be a big deal to someone else. Yeah. But just always be humble and gentle, be patient with each other, make an allowance for each other's faults because of your love, because there's not a one of us that is perfect.
No.
Even though I like to pretend like I am. And
confession time.
Yeah, I think what I do is perfect and right all the time, but I know it is not. And so it is important to remember that, and remember that scripture. Just, give grace.
Absolutely.
Give grace this week. So.
Love it.
All right. Hey, your favorite part?
Jimmy!
Helen!
Join us!
Soon!
We're having way too much room for that. But yes, Jimmy Fallon anytime. Anybody have a hookup, just let us know.
Yes. Yes, because we obviously don't have a hookup.
No hookup.
But we're not giving up, because we're not quitters. No. All right, well, we hope you have a good week. This is Listen.
Teacher Chatter.
This is Robin.
And Jill.
And see you next week.